Kimchi refrigerator history begins with the second refrigerator built for one demanding food. Seal kimchi in dedicated containers, hold it near a steady cold temperature, manage ripening, and keep its strong aroma away from milk, fruit, and leftovers. That is the entire promise in the first few seconds. Not colder food in general, but a more controlled climate for a living fermentation. LG Electronics records that its Gold Star predecessor introduced South Korea's first dedicated kimchi refrigerator in 1984. The company says the idea answered household complaints about kimchi odor spreading through an ordinary refrigerator while also maintaining conditions suited to storage and ripening. That origin matters because the kimchi refrigerator was not merely a smaller version of an older appliance. It reorganized a familiar task around a new constraint. Kimchi needed steady cold, controlled ripening, and separation from other food. The design therefore has to be judged by the routine it changed, the resources it required, and the kind of control it transferred to an ordinary user. Kimchi does not become inert when it enters cold storage. Fermentation continues as microorganisms convert ingredients and change acidity, aroma, and texture. Cooling slows that process. Stable temperature makes the change more predictable. A warmer interruption when a door opens can accelerate a food that is still biologically active. Mechanically, the important point is the sequence rather than any single part. The user performs a simple action, hidden components translate it, and the product produces a repeatable result. Showing that chain makes the kimchi refrigerator understandable as a working system instead of a nostalgic silhouette, and it fulfills the documentary promise with evidence rather than atmosphere. The early upright cabinet established the category, but later chest-style machines brought containers into top-opening compartments. Cold air is dense, so a top-opening layout can limit how much chilled air spills out during access. Separate lids and fitted containers also helped isolate batches and reduce odor exchange. Manufacturing turned the idea into infrastructure. Materials, dimensions, seals, switches, motors, hinges, or containers had to agree every time. A product becomes ordinary only when factories can repeat it, repair networks can support it, and households can trust that the next use will resemble the last. Reliability is therefore part of the historical story, not a footnote. A dedicated appliance fit the seasonal rhythm of kimjang, when households prepare larger quantities for later use. Instead of burying earthenware jars outdoors or surrendering much of the main refrigerator, a family could assign controlled indoor space to containers that would be opened over weeks or months. Inside the home, value accumulated through repetition. One use might seem modest, but the same saved wok, protected food, repaired garment, private song, washed face, shared program, or prepared drink happened again and again. Kimchi refrigerator mattered because it attached industrial design to the small schedule of a day and made that schedule easier to plan. LG's history shows the category changing again with an upright model in 2001 and a four-door design in 2010. Multiple compartments could be set for kimchi, refrigeration, or freezing. A machine invented around one food gradually became flexible cold storage infrastructure for vegetables, grain, meat, drinks, and frozen goods. The cultural meaning followed the practical value. Scarcity, price, novelty, and visibility could turn a tool into a signal of readiness or modernity. That does not mean every family owned the same model or used it in the same way. It means the object became legible to other people as evidence that a household had gained a new capability. The second refrigerator was never only about capacity. Its selling point was separation plus control. Containers, zones, door patterns, cooling outlets, and selectable modes. Those features converted a cultural practice into engineering requirements that could be advertised, compared, and revised model by model. Scale also changes interpretation. A single surviving object can look quaint, while thousands or millions of similar routines can reshape shops, streets, factories, bedrooms, and expectations. The safest claim is not that the kimchi refrigerator transformed every life identically, but that it helped normalize a new relationship between people, time, space, and a repeatable service. The category also reveals a trade-off. Another appliance occupies floor space, consumes electricity, and adds cost. Its value therefore depends on how often a household stores kimchi, how much it prepares, how crowded the main refrigerator is, and whether stable compartment temperatures justify a dedicated machine. Its decline was rarely a sudden mechanical failure. Competing products changed the comparison by offering another balance of cost, speed, space, labor, portability, or status. The older object could keep working while its social role narrowed. That distinction prevents a simple progress story and explains why useful designs often survive after losing their former central place. Modern kimchi refrigerators survive because specialization expanded rather than disappeared. The appliance still recognizes kimchi as the design center, yet manufacturers market separate zones and convertible temperatures for broader food storage. The relic is not obsolete. It is a once narrow category that learned to defend its place in a changing kitchen. What survives is a design lesson. It treated food culture as a technical requirement, not an afterthought. The casing and styling may date, but the underlying promise remains recognizable. When a newer product repeats that promise with different materials or electronics, it carries forward part of the older object's logic even if the original machine has moved to a cupboard, collection, or memory. Return to the object itself. Kimchi refrigerator joined a physical mechanism to an ordinary promise, then accumulated meaning through repeated use. Its history is strongest where evidence separates invention, manufacture, ownership, and later memory instead of blending them into one legend. The surviving lesson is concrete. It treated food culture as a technical requirement, not an afterthought. New products may change the materials, power source, scale, or interface, but they still have to solve the same human problem clearly enough to earn a place in daily life. To see the change at human scale, reconstruct the routine before and after. Before the kimchi refrigerator, the user had to coordinate more separate tools, trips, waiting, attention, or shared resources. Afterward, part of that coordination moved into the object. The machine did not abolish work, it packaged several decisions into a stable sequence. That is why a modest household product can matter historically even when its individual action looks small. There is also an infrastructure test behind the familiar casing. Kimchi refrigerator depended on materials, energy, distribution, maintenance, and knowledge that extended far beyond one home. When those supports were scarce, ownership remained exceptional or the product served a group. When they became dependable, the same object could fade into the background. Ordinary use is therefore evidence that an entire supporting system has become reliable enough to stop demanding attention. The design can be read as a set of trade-offs rather than a perfect solution. It gained control over kimchi needed steady cold, controlled ripening, and separation from other food. In exchange, users accepted cost, space, upkeep, preparation, or a new dependency. Later products won when they offered a more attractive balance, not necessarily because the earlier mechanism stopped working. This is how a durable invention can remain useful and still lose the central role it once held. A final comparison keeps the claim precise. Kimchi refrigerator did not reach every household at once, did not remove every burden, and did not become obsolete on a single date. Adoption varied with price, supply, infrastructure, repair, space, and habit. Its importance comes from the capability it made visible and repeatable. It treated food culture as a technical requirement, not an afterthought. Remembering that capability explains both the enthusiasm around the original product and the quieter ways its logic survives in newer designs.